Brian Heppell with us from Able, Felixstowe and the Laydens. Nice to have you on the show with us, Brian.
Nice to be here.
I do know him. He's a great person. Right, so let's go straight into this, talking about Able. First of all, for me and a lot of the people out there, what is Able, Felixstowe and the Laydens?
Right, Able Felixstowe stands for Brighter Life for Everybody, and Able was set up with the remit of actually taking on closed or disused buildings, reinventing their use, refurbishing them and reopening them to the community.
So it's all sort of getting it back out to the community, taking it in first, building it back up, sending it back out, that sort of thing.
That's basically what it is. In 2011, an NHS survey was done of Felixstowe, for the youth of Felixstowe mainly, and it was found that there was a big homeless issue in Felixstowe, and also there was a big nutritional deficiency within the youth of Felixstowe. And that's basically where we was actually asked to set up in 2011, with the aim of taking on buildings and opening them back up for the community.
That answers two of my questions in one. You're very, very good at giving that. Have we got any events planned to sort of get this out then for Able Felixstowe?
We do have events. Able Felixstowe at the moment, we're a CIC company, which means we can go along to other events to raise funds, etc. The next event that we're actually at is on the 6th of July at the Royal British Legion. We're having a couple of stalls there to raise funds, basically. The building we're looking at the moment, and it is only the first building we're looking at, they have been fighting that for 2 years now. So it tells you how hard it is to reopen
2 years
buildings.
is a long time.
It is. The actual building, the Laydens, which is what we're here to talk about today, the project, was shut 7 years ago. It was an ex-Mills and Wheels building, where they served all the Mills and Wheels. Then with modern technology, that all moved to Ipswich. So the building became disused. It was boarded up, and basically it's been left empty since then.
It'd be nice to see it used then. A lot of closed buildings, if they're just left there, put an eyesore on a town when they can be put to good use.
They certainly do, and they've become, as you well know, we've had 2 or 3 fires within Felixstowe, disused buildings. We really don't want any more, verbally. So yes, Able's aim is to actually reinvent, and the Laydens is going to be reinvented as a drop-in cat, to show the youth the nutritional value of food. It's going to be a training kitchen, so we can actually train the youth how to cook for themselves, which is a big thing. And it's going to have a lot of educational use, like there'll be training on first aid, there'll be training on health and safety rules and regulations and things like that. There'll be other events held there, such as craft fairs, there'll be coffee mornings, bingo sessions. Basically, we wanted to actually become the hub of the community. Where it's based, it actually covers 2 communities. That's the Cavendish community and St Mary's community. So it's in an ideal situation there.
Can I, if you don't mind, can I quickly pop back to the area where you're going to teach youth how to cook? So that's a very handy sort of thing, because I myself, I'm not a very good cook. I just about manage a really nice mac and cheese.
Okay.
And that will really help for like youth who are planning to, because we all want to move out of our parents' house, get away, and we can't do that if we don't know how to cater for ourselves, or else we're just going to end up getting obese, bad dietary standards, because we'll just be living on ready-made meals and easy meals to cook like that.
Yes.
So that's a very good idea, Ben, to teach us how to cook, because we then know how to cook proper meals for good dietary standard.
It is a handy thing to know, really, considering we're going to do it for the rest of your life. But, we actually did a survey, obviously when we looked at the Laydens, we did a public survey, and we found that there is a unit in Felixstowe that has 23 units that is set up for young parents with children, and out of 23 of those, 7 of them had cookers. The rest were all microwave cooked meals, and that's for the next generation. So that's how we're passing on the information to the next generation. So if we don't put a stop to it now,
that gets us into a bad habit.
It does.
So I'm not going to lie, a lot of me and my mates, we all use microwave meals. I use them. My parents leave me with microwave meals when they go on holiday because they don't trust me with the cooker.
Unfortunately, it's a sign of the times, though, isn't it? I mean, a lot of things, schools, bless them, they're trying to do cooking area classes, and I think they've got another name for it now, haven't they?
Food tech. There was a discussion to make it mandatory past your option stage, because up till now, when I left school, it was just an option. You didn't have to do it. They are planning to try, and I believe the government's trying to make it a mandatory part of the curriculum, where you have to do food studies as well, which is another good thing, because they're all vital skills.
The Nutritional Foundation of England did a survey, and they found out that 17% of children thought that fish fingers come from chicken. Worrying, isn't it?
I can't think of what to say.
18% of children thought that cheese come from plants.
Oh no.
So there is a slight lack of education there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to cure the problems of the world. We don't think we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But to help the youth.
You can give the chance, rather than just leave us thinking, I can't believe it.
And it's not only the youth. I'm not blaming all this on the youth. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people in Felixstowe, people who live alone, etc., who, unfortunately, the microwave has become an everyday tool. And we are suffering nutritionally with obesity, etc.
I mean, the most common thing known about the English is fish and chips, so...
It's very true. But fish fingers come from chicken.
That doesn't make sense how people can think that. Right. Well, we better move on to a different question before we get hung up on chicken fingers. Who sort of started the idea of Able then? Because I'm assuming that obviously you yourself and among others.
No, it wasn't me actually. I've only been with Able about a year, and there was two people who actually started. One who works for a residential service in Felixstowe, and one who's a minister in Felixstowe. They started it. They're now trustees of the group. We have a committee of 10, and they're all voluntary. And Laydens will be run completely by volunteers. It's a non-profit, and the idea eventually is, we hope within a 10-year period, that we've actually got the Laydens up ready to hand back to the community, so the community can actually run it for themselves. So then it will be hopefully financially stable and self-funding.
I mean, a good thing about having volunteers is you always get people who want to help, want to put something back into the community, as opposed to being paid. Because other people, like I'm bullying myself here, but I usually try and get jobs outside of volunteer work. I try and get jobs just so I have an income to get by. But having a volunteer job shows that they have the effort and they actually want to do something important with their time. So it's another good showing of what personally people can do. And people always say, oh, people never help each other. Volunteers say otherwise.
When you think of knowledge, if one person's got one piece of knowledge, you put 10 people together, that's 10 pieces of knowledge. And if you can bring those 10 pieces of knowledge together, then they're all going to gain out that knowledge.
Philosopher, everyone. Philosopher. Future philosopher. His lines will be remembered throughout history. So, what are the future plans for Able?
The future plans for Able is, we are hopefully any day now going to be signing on the dotted line with Suffolk Coastal for the Laydens. That then involves about 2 or 3 months' work of actually refurbishing it, and hopefully within 2 months open it. We was hoping to have the building open in April. Unfortunately, due to certain things that happened within the local council, that got put off. There are other organisations that are doing similar things in Felixstowe, like the Hut, for instance, down the seafront. Most people know the situation over there. But Able's future is to carry on opening. There's 2 or 3 other disused buildings that we're looking at the moment. And obviously, I said I've only been here about a year. When Able first took on Laydens, they didn't really realise how big a project it was actually going to be. I mean, there was no water on, there's no gas on, there's no electric on.
A lot of work to be done.
It's a lot of work, yeah. It's a lot of dotted lines to sign. And because I think we chose the hardest one we could possibly choose, Able will come out far better at the other end of it. And the next one that they move on to, or we move on to, I should say, will be far easier.
Because you're proving you can do the harder one first. Proves that you've got the effort, the commitment and everything else, and the skills to do it.
That's right. Well,
so a lot of people will support the fact that you've done the harder one, overdoing an easy one and building your way up.
Yeah. I mean, showing a commitment. They've been fighting it for 2 years.
They've definitely got the
commitment. And we've been very lucky. We've been offered lots of services from the local community as well. We've had lots of things donated. There was a builder in town who's actually offered about £3,000 worth of work, labour and materials. And we've had things like outside lights donated. We've had loads of kitchen equipment donated, tables and chairs. But of course, we're always looking for donations. We're non-profit. We're not there to make a profit. We are there to hand it all back to the community at the end of the day. So.
How would people go around getting in touch with you? Have you got like a website or anything they can maybe email you, get involved, make donations? How would they go around doing that?
We do have a website, www.ablefelixstowe.org is the website. The email address is ablefelixstowe Laydens, because that's the project, @gmail.com.
If we get that on paper, I'll put that. That will be in the description later on in the video. You check it out on the site, and make sure you do go out and check it out, because it's a very worthwhile cause, and it's all for you. So don't just pass it by. It's a chance to help yourselves and help the community around you. Don't pass it by. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show, Brian. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. All right.